Hey, this is Heather Kay, and I'm going to be showing you something really important. Let me put it up. I'm preparing my meals in advance. I got these containers from the dollar store, and they're glass, but they're cheap. I did buy these containers from Tupperware, and they're specifically designed for freezer, but you're not supposed to put them in the microwave. So, but they were just too big, and I just didn't want these big bulky containers in my freezer. So that's okay, because that will be used for another size, but the next size down was the same as this. So I have about 3 of them, and if I'm going to have a choice between Rubbermaid, which I have Rubbermaid in my freezer, sorry to be out of the picture here, but Rubbermaid in the freezer would be something I'd eat first. Right now, for some reason, I threw out a bunch of my lids. Now I don't have enough lids because I got two different meals in my freezer. This one here is my veggie meal because I'm trying to path to being vegan. So I'm trying my hardest to eat vegetables. Veggies. So I'm not sure how many I got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That particular batch made 13. And last night I just had a few samples and plus what I had to throw away that didn't quite fit in that. I probably would have got 14 meals. Normally I get around 16. In this case, I allowed myself more because it was veggies. So this is me. I'm the bread maker of the family. If you guys want to see something really cool, I'm just going to put these aside because they got to go to the freezer. This bread, and you got to weigh it if you don't know any better. Or once you know how much goes in a container, once you find what your amount is, I guess these ones cost $2. Price tag's still on the bottom. You'll know what a fill mark is on that. So, and if you want to compare, like that's almost like 2 fists. Like it depends. Like your protein should be 1/3, your carbs should be 1/3, your veggies needs to be double. So that's like double the veggies. So in the middle of doing something with this bread, this is a triple batch. Normally I make a quadruple batch. Can you imagine being the bread maker of the family? Here I am talking bread, telling you how to meal plan. I'm going to be giving myself an extra sticker for not eating this bread. Because we're going to have like a little family get together. It's a lot of people are skipping work for it. Me, I'm home making bread. So I want to show you this thing because when the bread gets out of hand, because it was literally going over. See, it starts to sink. So one of the things I'm going to conduct a little experiment on that today. And this is all it's supposed to come off. Yeah, that's not going to go down much because it's a triple batch. I'm getting ready to pan it. I did manage to get my veggies done because I was a little concerned about not getting them done. I made that last night. I allowed it to thoroughly cool off. Sorry for sharing a bread on the bread maker video on the path to success because life is going to be throwing challenges at you. I am faced with challenges like being the bread maker of the family all the time. And last night I just gave in and had some jam. And today I'm feeling tremendously guilty because it's almost like, hey, confession time with Heather Kay, the bread maker, why she's not losing weight. I can get back to eating some goodness later on. How I fix my bread craving right now where I'm trying to lose weight is I buy gluten-free bread. That gives me the not guilt because I'm not 100% sure if I'm allergic to gluten because I find that my belly swells if I have bread and it stays there for like 2 or 3 days. And I love bread, but maybe bread doesn't love me, which is what I'm trying to decide. So the reason why I'm putting this out there is because you will be faced with the most delectable treats there are in life. And if you're on a journey, you say no. However, the good news is, and somebody told me, Heather, I love you, because once a week you can have your treat. If bread is your thing, make that your reward. Remember, I talked in other videos, and I don't know if you guys sometimes really understand what I'm saying. For me, my treat is Singapore noodles. I love it. Kind of get sick of it. I might find myself a new treat. I do actually have a Singapore noodle in the freezer. It was leftover. And remember when I said when you take a meal sometimes and you divide it in 2, it's going to taste just as good the next day. Or if you go out, there's no shame in my game if I have to share a meal, if I don't want to bring home leftovers, right? Or I give my leftovers to a friend. And that way I can enjoy my treats. And I do allow myself a treat once a week. And I'm faithful to that treat every Friday night. Every Friday night I don't exercise because Friday is my day off. Like I said, I even won a contest where I had a glass of wine. And I had it in the contest. And people might not think it's fair. But if you're eating well every day and you're moving every day, your body's metabolism goes up. And when you have that one treat meal a week, not one day, one treat meal a week, and if you can't contain yourself with one, then don't do it. When you have the one treat meal a week, your metabolism's a little higher and it burns it off. And so once you learn that balance with your body, it's like beautiful things happen. You get to enjoy life again. And I promise you that you will enjoy life again. Once you're completed your goal to where you're at, you get to eat a little bit more food and you get to exercise less. So right now I'm doing 6 days a week. Once I meet my goal, I'm going to be doing maybe 3 or 4 days a week, right? And it's like life is better. So if you, I guess, I don't mean to be stuttering here, but I spend a lot of time talking to people about their life and their journey. And if I ever find somebody who does not struggle with food, because I consider myself to be a food addict, is that when I talk to them, I said, you don't struggle like I do. Why is that? They have no trouble with portions. Ta-da! And they have no trouble. No trouble saying, "I'm full, no cake." Me, I'm full. Bring on the cake. So what I've done, and this is awful wasteful. Like I used to have to travel a lot, and all my meals were provided when I'm out at meetings and stuff, and I'm sometimes being served food. If they give me a dessert and everybody's having it, you have it, because you don't want to draw attention to yourself. Like, oh no, I can't have it. And I was like, oh, look at that skinny biatch. What I do sometimes is I'll tell somebody comes who's serving it to me, sometimes even the waitress, if you're out, you say, if you leave this here in front of me, I will eat the whole thing. Now I'm going to take a couple bites of it, and then I want you to take it away. And they say, you know what they tell me? I understand completely. Not a problem. And like, I don't want to draw any attention to myself. Like, could you cut that in half and cut that in half and cut that in half and make 4 pieces of it? I don't want to draw attention like, oh, what's she doing? It's like, I'm going to have a couple bites, take it away. Right? So there's things you can do not to draw attention to yourself. And I like not drawing attention to myself. There's times where I want the attention, trust me, but there's times where I don't want the attention to myself. And usually it's when I'm trying to meal plan, because unless you want to talk to me about it, I'm in the mood to talk, like that's why I have my own site. Well, I'll answer any questions, and I will get in conversations with that. But when I'm sitting down and I'm eating, and I feel like, you're being judged, like, look what she's eating. And I've been judged on, I had the same amount in a smaller container. And somebody says, oh my God, is that all you're eating? You're going to starve. And it's like, no, that's not all I'm eating, because I have a lot of meals. Back in that day, I was having 6 meals a day. Trust me, I was not starving. I don't think I look like an anorexic here. So a lot of people who know me sometimes forget how big I was. I figure I lost about 60 to 75 pounds. So when I look at myself today, like, I still have issues. Like, I don't find my arms are bad, thank God. How some people have it. Like, I know I'm going to have a lot of skin on my arms. But when I show you my arms, when I'm sitting here, it's not a big deal. And if anybody has any trouble with my arms, like maybe, looking weird, that's their problem, not mine. Because I love myself, I love my body, and I want you to say that to yourself 1,000 times until you believe it. Because one of the things I find about this journey is I find that we beat ourselves up. If we don't want to talk to anybody about it, then if you don't want to draw attention to yourself, then don't. And the reason why I say this is because I one time met a man who had cardiac failure, and he had to lose weight for his health. And I asked him, I said, how do you keep the weight off? And he says, I bring my own lunch. And because he was in the same meeting as I was. And the bad thing about that is my food was better than theirs. I remember having a banana, and they served us, I think they served us grapes, and they had, the melons and strawberries and blueberries. They had a whole spread of fruit, and I'm eating a banana. Somebody says, "Where'd you get the banana?" And I didn't want to say I brought my own lunch. So, and I had veggies, and they had veggies. And they said, "Where'd you get your veggies? Yours look better than what we got here." And I'm like, "Oh my God." And then another time it's like, Heather's meal is better than ours. And we had 50, 60 people in the room. And I was turning 3 shades of red because I did what my, I guess it was my former boss who had a heart issue. He said, "You have to bring your own lunch." So I try to make my lunch like if they were having chicken, then I try to have chicken. So, and the other thing too is I'd go to like pitted prunes because I could have 3 pitted prunes is equivalent to 1 apple. So I just have a little container or have it in my hand. I have a prune, put it in my mouth, and I eat it. And no one knows that I'm having my fruit. And I don't have to deal with, "Where did you get the banana?" And everybody's stopping and looking at me. So like that's what I mean by drawing attention to yourself. And we talked about this in another video. When you transform your body, people are going to miss the old you. And it's going to be overwhelming. And so if you want me to talk more about that, let me know in the comments, and I will make another video just on how I dealt with that part, because I almost felt like I had to just stay in the house. It was just that hard on me. So, and like I said, people are used to me this way now. I got the opposite now. They don't remember how big I was. So on that note, I got to get pan in this bread, and I got to have my lunch, and I got to get out of here. I got to get to my family event. Unfortunately, I got to get cleaned up. This is me not cleaned up. This is just me in my morning, doing my morning thing. I can feel the heat of the oven. Okay, see you tomorrow. Press like, subscribe, and you know all the details. Tell your friends about this woman on YouTube who is a bread maker and is trying to lose weight. Will she make it? Yes or no?